engulfed Sierra Leoneans was that the crime fit the charges. In this case, the treason trial that was brought before Paulo Conte. Can you break that down for us?
Well, first of all, I was of the view that it was a wrong charge. I've been in this profession for 48 years. 48. I've seen every treason trial since I came home in 1972. If there was one trial that did not fit treason, it was this one. That's number one. Number two, when they told me the facts of the case, that is basically based on the fact that he went to State House with a gun and that they thought he went there to assassinate XYZ, I knew that was rubbish. When Reagan was shot in the United States of America, it was murder. You shoot a head of state does not mean it is treason. That is if you shoot. It's not treason. It is murder. This was said by the defense counsel. I don't know whether the judge accepted that. If he had accepted that, the case should have stopped long ago because the facts did not. Any seasoned lawyer, and I use the word seasoned, would say most of us, I won't call names, were against that charge. You see, what has happened over the years is that the law officers now hasn't got experienced lawyers. I say so because I know what I'm talking about. The Attorney General, who I taught, a very clever woman, has been here 20 years. Priscilla, God bless her. The other lawyers there, they're very good lawyers there, Farmer, Sohi. What happened to them? These are good lawyers. The DPP, Gakwi, were they consulted? Because the lawyer, the lead lawyer, is a relatively junior lawyer. The relatively junior lawyer who prosecuted this case. So who was supervising him? That's number one. Number two, as far as I'm concerned, the sooner we start to do away with treason trials in this country, the better. I never forget, I was in the Constitutional Review Commission just before President Kaba gave up office. And the lead consultant there was the late Mr. Peter Tucker. He was the one who wrote the 1991 Constitution. He said, ladies and gentlemen, the sooner we start to do away with treason trials, I said, because they are political. They're not legal. Most of the times, treason trials tend to be political.
Questioning the evidence on this case, with your experience, like you said, could this be best described as a political matter?
Well, as far as I'm concerned, I think to me it looked like a political. The reason why I say so is the reason that the lead prosecutor gave. He said that the reason why he thought Paulo was going with a gun was to revenge for his uncle. This thing happened over 28 years ago. That's number one. Number two, I don't think in his craziest of minds, anybody today, if you know how armed State House is, you will go there and say you're going to do X, Y, Z. As one of the defense counsel said, either you go with a suicide vest in which you kill yourself, or they'll mow you down. To me, it was the wrong charge. If you listen to the police, they did the right thing. They said they were investigating for unlawful possession of arms. But because they are not the superior body, they had to forward it to the law officers department because they are the lawyers. The police were right.
How could the police investigation of unlawful possession of arms be changed to...
Well, that's the point. That's the point. It's not a matter of change. Because you have lawyers there, they think, we lawyers think that it was more than an unlawful
Should lawyer act on evidence rather than just...
Well, yes. Well, to me, I don't know what was the evidence to charge treason. That's what I'm saying. Because the basis of their charge was that he did not go through the scanner, he tried to avoid and was trying to go. There is no way anybody is going to commit a crime who says, I get gone. Look, I get gone, I take an amian. That is it. To me, nobody who's good. When you look at the facts of treason in this case, GMT Kaikai, and Bassam Macaulay and all that, there is no question of somebody going and saying, look, I have a gun. It's sudden, it's a surprise, it's about 6 o'clock in the morning. Look at all the facts. I'm not defending Paulo. I know, but I'm not. As far as I'm concerned, I've told him, I say, you have no right to go around with a gun. But to say it was treason because you are caught with a gun at, let's say, a prohibited place,
so what then, under our law, qualify as treason?
Good.
Or is it treasonable matter?
Good. Beautiful question. Treason is when somebody, in fact, normally it's a group of persons. It's hardly one person. It's hardly one person. When there is more or less a conspiracy where they prepare an endeavor to overthrow a government, that is the bottom line. They go to overthrow a government. It says prepared. Our Treason and State Offences Act was taken from the Ghanaian one. It was Ghana who first started that in 61, ours was in 63. It was late Barton Macaulay QC, the Queen's Council. He actually borrowed it hook, line, and sinker from Ghana. So what it means is that a few of us would sit, we start to have meetings, we prepare, let's say, look, we're not too satisfied with what's going on. What can we do about it? Like the MPRC boys. See? They were having meetings. Like the GMT Kai Kai. Or one man who has been invited to a meeting to discuss COVID-19 to go and see that there is no way it can be treated.
You spoke about the Attorney General and Minister of Justice, whom you said is a brilliant person, your student as well.
Yeah, I taught her, that's why I'm saying so.
You taught her.
But I disagree with what she did.
Could this have been a mistake on her part to lead a prosecution against Pal?
My honest view is that she's a good woman, but I think this was a fundamental blunder. Because you see, why I say so is you have some solid people in that office who were not used in this case. There is a Mr. Farmer, 28 to 30 years. There is Soyi. There is the DPP. In fact, these matters fall under the docket of the DPP. That's why you have a DPP. I cannot see all of them, if I know them, have a meeting and all of them take a decision that let's don't go with what the police are saying. Let us charge instead with treason. I think the final decision must have been the attorney. And if it was, with the greatest of respect, I think it was a wrong charge. The judge, unfortunately, did not go into the details. But that is what the jury were saying. It was the jury who saved this case. It was the jury who, I tell you, if it was the judge alone, I know him, Mr. Stevens, wonderful, I wonder whether I would have come to that conclusion.
Was someone trying to prove a point with your experience in a point where
it was more than a point. That's why
when there is no evidence?
Well, I have got facts which I cannot reveal now in this place.
No, but
people who are in the same church, there's a lot of personal issues
on this matter.
On this matter, which I got to know later on from reliable sources. And if it is true, I use my words carefully, then we do not want that again in Sierra Leone. I don't want Francis Gavidon to hold a grudge against you, and I wait for the opportunity if I'm at home to just say, don't catch him. This they can't charge a lock up. No, I'm just giving him an example, madam. I'm just saying.
Sorry.
That's what you're saying. It should be based on the evidence.
And in your own opinion, the evidence was not...
No, that's my view. I don't think there was evidence to constitute the charge of treason. In other words, did he go there with the intention to overthrow the government of Sierra Leone? I don't see the facts. Yes, madam, if that's what you're asking me. So that is what treason is.
So in this case...
I don't know who the other lawyer is, what he's been telling you, but that is as far as I'm concerned.
Now, so in this case, where, in your opinion, and as well the opinion of the defense counsel, a wrong charge was brought on Paulo Conte, again, for lack of evidence, who do we hold responsible? Who should take the fall? Because again, state resources have been put into this trial.
The simple answer is, in an advanced country, those who prosecuted or those who would have resigned or would have left office. That's what they do.
So are you
the Serious Fraud Office in England, let me give you an example. Serious Fraud Office in England had one or two high-profile prosecutions. They lost them. That's true. The Serious Fraud, they resigned. You see, which man different from black man? We don't want answer, say we don't do something. If it not been which man, they don't resign. Because they knew they bungled it. Because this is not just bungled it for themselves. The state is also will become a laughingstock. This case was monitored by the international community all over the world. And when you prosecute people for treason, it's the highest criminal offense you're saying. And for you to lose 13 out of 15 counts, 13 Only 2 you were succeeded in. That's the part of Love. Come on, that's a
But-
disaster.
So should the AG be sacked or resign?
I am not saying she should be over for
No, I'm
me.
asking your
I think
opinion.
if I was her, I would resign because it's a big look.
And in a point where she doesn't resign, and you're saying this is an embarrassment.
That is
maybe-
my- that's
no,
my
I'm
view.
asking. I'm saying in a
My
situation.
view is with a big, high profile. The way this case was hyped, you would have thought Mars was coming down to say, and it was not as. It was not the only thing they said. Well, this man went to State House with a gun. What is the evidence of treason?
So in a
sir?
situation where she doesn't resign, should the president sack her?
That's entirely for the government of the day. To me, if you ask me, and I'll say it publicly, I think she should do the decent thing. Submit your resignation. The president can accept it or reject it. You're not bound to accept
Could
it.
you have resigned if you were in that position?
Oh, yes, I would have. But I would not have charged for treason.
Okay.
No way, sir.
Augustine, lawyer